And for all the broken promises, all the interviews at gunpoint, the Taliban are frankly unbothered. Do you know why? Because they won the war. And the world always recognizes a winner. It's tragic, but it's also true. The Taliban know that the US is not coming back. And why would they? Washington now has a new and shiny partner in Afghanistan, the Taliban themselves. Who would have seen this 20 years back? The targets of the war on terror are now partners in the same war. They're not terrorists anymore, apparently. They're a group. And one man sums up this flip-flop by the United States. A certain Zalmay Khalilzad, America's special envoy for Afghanistan, he pretended to be Dr. Peace. Having breakfast in Kabul, lunch in Islamabad, dinner in Doha, a lot of jetting around, but nothing to show for it. Wouldn't be a first for Khalilzad. He landed in Kabul in 2001 after the Taliban's ouster. He said it was a massive opportunity for Afghanistan to change.
I'm here on behalf of the President to express our support for the people of Afghanistan as they try to establish a new order here to rebuild their country, to free Afghanistan from the remnants of the Taliban and Al-Qaeda. As I said before, this is a moment of opportunity. When the Soviets withdrew from Afghanistan, similarly, it was a moment of opportunity.
He loves that word a lot, it seems. Opportunity. The Soviet withdrawal was an opportunity. So was the Taliban's ouster. And now the American exit. Everything is an opportunity. This is what Mr. Khalilzad is up to nowadays, retweeting the Taliban and quoting Mullah Baradur's deputy on social media. He says the Taliban statements are quote-unquote positive. Even American presidents have changed their tone. Remember, this war started with George Bush. He bullied the Taliban, threatened them, had no problems calling them terrorists. This is what he said. Take a look.
The central goal of the terrorists is the brutal oppression of women, and not only the women of Afghanistan. The terrorists who help rule Afghanistan are found in dozens of countries around the world. And that is the reason this great nation, with our friends and allies, will not rest until we bring them all to justice.
The Joe Biden of 2001 would have probably agreed with Bush, at least on the terrorism part. But the Biden of 2021 does not have that luxury. Let me play out a clip from earlier this month. This is Joe Biden, US President, crediting the Taliban for helping to evacuate the US embassy.
We've been in constant contact with the Taliban leadership on the ground in Kabul, as well as the Taliban leadership at Doha. And we've been coordinating what we were doing. That's why we were able, for example, how we got all of our embassy personnel out.
From warnings and threats to constant contact. 20 years is a long time. But don't mistake this for an ideological shift. This is just political convenience. America will deal with just about anyone in power, from hardcore Islamist groups to power-hungry dictators. And every time Washington pivots, poor old Hollywood follows. It's a well-known movie tradition. America's enemies are Hollywood's enemies. Think about it. You have the Nazis, the Russians, the Iranians, and in the last 2 decades, the Taliban. We've had so many movies on Afghanistan, The Outpost, where a band of US soldiers battle hundreds of Taliban terrorists. Lone Survivor, the adventurous hunt for the Taliban's fictional chief, Ahmad Shah. Or Six, the story of a Navy SEAL team chasing a Taliban leader. The list does not end. Now it's time for Hollywood to rethink, perhaps, to rebrand the Taliban as partners. Maybe a joint operation against ISIS. It's Hollywood, you never know. All kidding aside, recognition matters, especially for a group that spent 20 years on the run. It's not desirable, it's not acceptable, but that's how power plays work. If the Taliban had been eliminated, they would have been condemned by history. Instead, they will now be called Afghanistan's rulers. If you think about it, it's a good Hollywood-style plot. Medieval rulers return after 20 years in the wilderness. The Taliban get lead role. And America plays a great supporting actor. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.